Howdy, all you delicious people. I'm here today to review Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1, Episodes 32 through 36. The Green Candle, guys, the two-parter. We made it, guys. 2 episodes that have storytelling in them. Storytelling. We've gotten to this point. Freaking high fives all around. Freaking dance it out, everybody. Celebrate. Stories with storytelling. It's freaking breathtaking because of the cocoonery of just nonsense that is to be surrounding that two-parter. It is what it is. The cocoonery of it all. If that's even a word, it should be, god dang it. But so, I am to also look in the crystal ball of viewing globe of future episodes of Power Rangers. I am looking at that bad reflection episode, and I am just salivating at that bad boy. I am like, I hope that that episode is a banger episode, because right there, that thing right there is something I want for an entire season. Just give me that. Just give me whatever that is. Like, I just want a whole season of that. Don't give me anything else. I hope that that's a good episode, because I will freaking cry. Because I was just like, oh, this is what I want. Give me that. And then also we'll have a Doomsday two-parter that I think I'm sliverly remembering that bit of two-parter. Like, Golar goes into his own Megazord and battles it out with the Rangers, because I guess he hasn't done that enough while just being gigantic multiple times in episodes. It isn't good enough for you, Golar. But whatever, it is what it is. Like, it'll probably go on to remind me of, like, the Beast Morphers episodes, where, like, it's Zord versus Zord, and, like, they're battling it out for the Morph-X, or whatever goofy, tower things that they're having to defend or protect, or whatever in that show. It's been a while, folks. It's been a while. I probably could have easily gotten that confused with Sporex, but I think that that's Dino Fury. Why do they have to have names for the morphing juice thing? I don't know. Why not just call it Ooze? Just remind us of the movie. What difference does it make at this point? But so, regardless, let's get back to where I was at here. So, let's go on and let's talk about the cocoonery. And then we'll, of course, bring up the green candle. So, when looking at the Doomsday two-parter and hearing the word Megazord even described somewhere within that two-parter, I'm like, time out. Flag on the play. Unnecessary Megazord battles. Just going on per episode to episode. And just kicking it off. So, A Star is Born. We have this being like a episode again to remind us that Tommy still has his communicator in a bag because he forgot it on his wrist. But then also, oh man, my communicator's in the bag. Yeah, it's still in the bag, Tommy. It's still in the bag. It's still there. You didn't learn anything from prior episodes, buddy. But so, A Star is Born gives us what is to be this bug monster, but then hold my beer, because we all of a sudden have Babe Ruthless out of nowhere. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, Babe Ruthless is freaking cool. Why couldn't you have given me a whole entire episode with Babe Ruthless? I would watch that. I don't care what goofy crap is going on with the Sentai version of Babe Ruthless. I want to see that. I don't want to see cocoonery and Weaver worm thing. I don't want to see any of that. Give me the Babe Ruthless episode. I want to see that. But no. You just want to give me a episode where the Power Rangers are just stuck in a cocoon, and they're just like, oh, we can't figure this out. Like, we're moving, and like, I feel water around me, and I can't breathe that well. Sure, Rangers. Sure. Hopefully you're brave and you're clever and you can figure it out. Because heaven forbid you use your powers or your strength to figure it out. But whatever, A Star is Born. Bulk was a star in this episode, and so is Tommy. But really, also, those stars were just smothered in cocoon. So next up, we have the Yolks on You. Yeah, it definitely is, because, man, that Fang monster, look at that face. That's just, what is that? Man, when you first see Fang, and the close up, and you're looking at the teeth, you're like, all right, this looks like something. But then you just back away, and then you just look at that face, and you're like, okay, well, like, I guess we just can't win them all. So, like, that face just looks like it's been cooked a little bit too long. But so, within this episode, there's to be the whole thing about the eggs. The eggs, I need the eggs. Oh, give me the eggs. And I thought that there was something cool about this episode where the Fang monster, like, he was choosing no sides. He was just like, man, I am all in on these eggs and nothing else matters. And for anyone who is to go on and just offer him just the ability to get some kind of eggs, like, this Fang is like all for it. He's just like, I think the Rangers have the eggs. I'm going to get it from them. And then the Rangers like, we don't have the eggs. We don't have them. And we're going to lie to you. Come on, Fang, stop fighting, or we'll just keep fighting and beating you. All right. And, like, that's the whole episode. Where Fang is like, I gotta have the eggs. And Jason's like, we don't have the eggs. That's the whole episode. That's really it. That's all that's going on. That's it. That's the whole thing. So, then we get to the Green Candle. The send-off of the Green Ranger. But it's not a really send-off, because this character ends up getting so mistreated, but he's like the best thing about the show. So eventually they end up going and like calling old Tommy, just like, you know what, Tommy? Like, yeah, we know we try to just get rid of you, but like, we want to have you come back as a good old friend to us. And eventually another Ranger will probably turn evil while you come back, but you know, like, we'll just have you come back again. So like, that whole send-off biz that we just did, like, that was just another just story arc thing that we could just have you in, because we really do like you. But you know, like, there's just times where we just can't figure out how to write you into episodes. Obviously, there's just a lot of problems with that. Like, and then obviously you keep putting your communicator in like your bag, and like, you know what, like, we gotta figure out how to just write you into episodes. But you should, it's hard. That whole Sentai footage thing, like, really is messing us up here. So, within the Green Candle two-parter, and now having to compare it to Green with Evil here, let's do that. So, Green with Evil is to be, like, for the Power Rangers parts, is to be very iconic. There's a lot of good fights going on in there, and there is some good stories in parts of that five-parter, with the exclusion of the Where Is Waldo crap that they do a lot within those 5 episodes. And then you get the Green Candle, and regardless of how lesser there is to be with the Power Rangers stuff, the two-parter has a really good story, and it also is to harken back to the Green with Evil stuff and do some good things there. And so, with that said, I would almost go on and say that Green with Evil and Green Candle are neck and neck, almost even. Weirdly, uh, even though yes, it's a 5 versus 2 parter, but still, yeah, like you have to say like the best part of Green with Evil is the Sentai footage, and the best part about Green Candle it's its story, and so I would want to say that Green Candle is number 2 on the top 10. Of course, after Green with Evil, because Green with Evil would be like the first thing anyone should see about this show, and then Green Candle should go on and follow. Of course, because Green Ranger's story arc and what else really matters in between all of that nonsense. But so here is also like the growth of the Tommy character. So looking back at Green with Evil, where he's like slamming and like being so rude to all the characters, in this two-parter, Tommy is not thinking of himself. Yeah, like always Tommy wants to go out there and desperately wants to continue uh to face it all on his own quite a bit. But Tommy in the very beginning of this Green Candle two-parter is thinking about Kimberly. He's thinking about Kim. He's not thinking of himself. He's just like, man, I want some of that Kim. You know? Finally, like, we're gonna do something by the end of this two-parter. We're gonna do something here. And then also, like, Tommy's going on and being like, well, like I'm losing my power. Like, but I'm gonna try my best to just magic flute my way to help all my team. And again, he's not thinking of himself. He's just thinking like, no, I'm gonna try harder to get my friend's help. And then goes on and like Tommy can't go and retrieve the green candle. And so he's just like, man, I want to go and I want to get to the can. And Zoran's like, well, I'm sorry. Like, you can't go because that'll accelerate the process. So we have to go on and have someone else go instead of you. Like, Tommy's just like, okay, like, I'll just let it happen. I'll just let Jason go on and do it because he's been there before. And, like, hopefully he's successful. And then when Jason comes back without the candle, Tommy doesn't go on and like take Jason aside and just be like and rips into him or nothing. He rewards him. He rewards him. Tommy goes on and be like, you know what? Like, I don't care that you didn't go on. You didn't get the green candle. I'm still gonna reward you for at least the effort. So here you go. Here is my power. Here is my shield. Here is my dagger. Take it. Use it. Because I can no longer be a ranger anyways. So, here you go. Here is your reward for just effort alone, even though the end result is to just be that Tommy loses his power and no longer can be temporarily a Power Ranger. And he's just like, well, you know what? Like, we all can still be friends, right? Like, that's, again, not thinking of himself. And then going on by the tail end of this two-parter, just look at Kimberly and just be like, you know what? Like, I think it's finally time for us to do something about this will they, won't they thing. Yeah. Just, again, Tommy's not thinking of himself. The growth of this character, great. But then again, eventually, that is to easily understand why Tommy eventually goes on and at some point becomes a leader of this team for a good long while. And then eventually does things later on, you know? Exists somewhere out in the ether. And then we, of course, end up getting the Bird of a Feather episode. Where we just go on and just have so much Megazord stuff going on in this episode. And like, it just feels like this whole entire episode could really be summed up like this. So we have somebody that is to see like a obviously like a screw like sticking out of something. And you would think that a person would go on and look at that screw sticking out and be like, you know what? I'm going to go on and get the perfect tool for this job. And that, of course, would be either a screwdriver or a hammer, and either screw that bad boy in or just take that hammer and just gently tap it in and call it a day. Oh no. Within this episode, we get the Power Rangers that just find a shoe, and they just like they're taking the screw and they're smacking it with a shoe, hoping it's gonna consistently work. For some reason, like the screw still is moving, and they just like, well, like I think this shoe works. I should just keep on using the shoe. No! Don't use a shoe! Good God! Zordon is to go on and tell you what to do, of how to defeat this thing. But you're like, oh, what does Zordon know? Zordon doesn't know how to use a screwdriver or hammer. That's just nonsense. Like, we'll just go on and, like, we'll just use the Power Sword or the Dragon Zord or the Mega Dragon Zord Battle Mode, whatever goofy title thing it has to be this week. The Ultra Zord. Let's see if all of that just breaks down this monster, because that's all we've ever known for a number of episodes. There can't be some special like twist or turn of things that is to really just be different from this monster than any of the others in the past. It just has to be just the normal nonsensical, like, just like blast it away and it'll work. No! Afraid not, dear sir. How about we go to the drawing board and think of possibly any other plans that are left there, and then do that? No? And then why do we question why Jason had gotten changed from being a leader? This very episode. Good God, man. Anyway, yeah, just like that right there just states, like, go and have the right tool for the. If you already know, like, how to defeat something, like, why are you trying a billion other things to have it be a waste of energy? Like, what is that teaching people? Really? What is it teaching? Anyways, so we go into A Star Is Born, and there are bits and pieces about this episode, as I'm going to go on and go into full-on spoilers about all of this. So, spoiler time, it's about that time again to spoil these episodes. Let's just cover this all. Besides the Green Candle, these other episodes are just a thing that exists. I don't even call them fine. They don't even deserve that. Because man, are there problems. But, like, the Green Candle, that is freaking great. That is awesome. That is as good as it can get for a lot of these episodes. So, let's go into this. A Star Is Born. We go into the Angel Grove High, and so Tommy, Kim, and Zach make their way to the lockers, and Kim is asking Tommy about like, well, hey, do you want to go to the beach? And Tommy's like, yeah, I don't think so. I gotta go on and I gotta like I gotta get some like practice in for this whole karate commercial. And Bulk and Skull come in, and Skull's on this huge, massive cell phone, and he's going on and he's talking about like, well, I need a limo, and like the phone call like hangs up on him. He's like, well, so we of course have Bulk overhearing from Tommy that it's like, oh, you're going for this karate commercial? Well, like, what makes you think that you're going to get this karate commercial? And so Tommy goes on and is to grab this scarf from Bulk and it's to just be doing all of these moves with this scarf. And then Bulk is to look at Skull and just be like, yeah, I think we should probably get some practice in before we go into this, like, whole, like, this whole commercial thing. But then weirdly, instead of like Bulk and Skull actually practicing, we see them go out on the beach and Bulk is like, well, yeah, I gotta get my tan in before we do this commercial because I gotta look tan. I'm like, so do I, buddy. So do I. Believe me, I am just one. If you are going on and seeing this, like, man, I am like 20 shades of white. But anyways, and I probably should myself get a tan, but like it's still like almost wintertime during where I'm currently aboding at, within the northern parts of the United States of America, because that's where I exist. Anyways, so but if anything, I'm getting a little ahead myself. So, uh, Bulk ends up turning to Skull and saying, like, well, hey, we're going to need some practice. So, at the Bordendora Palace, Rita's feeling a little dookie this day. She's feeling pooped. She's feeling like she needs to take a trip to Brown Town. And so she's giving up her control over to Goldar because she's like, I'm just done. Like, I'm like 30 episodes in, and like, what do I have to show for it? Like, nothing. Like, I got nothing. Like, Goldar, like, you're pitch hitting for this one. So Gold's like, yeah. I'm not gonna do a lick of anything, but yeah. My time to shine. So I'm like, oh yeah, what do you got for me, Goldar? That's gonna wow me here. That is gonna be anything different than what Rita has gone on and done for a number of episodes. Like, what do you got in your freaking bag of tricks this week? So Rangers are at the beach and they're playing with this beach ball. And I'm like, don't give me flashbacks to the volleyball episode. Just don't give me flashbacks. So so the Rangers are at the beach, they're playing volleyball, and there's no net. It's just them just smacking this ball back and forth. And so Bulk and Skull appear, and they, of course, as per usual, they have to fall over somehow or another. And so that happens. And I think what happens is like Bulk ends up getting hit with the beach ball, and he falls over, and then like he falls on Skull. So Bulk is to go on and tell Skull that he needs this tan, and again, so does this guy. So Skull ends up going on and like giving Bulk this lotion, but then the lotion like gets all over him. And so he's like, well, hey, like, I needed a tan, I didn't need a bath. And then he goes on to like, and so in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? That's enough lotion there to cover your whole goddamn bate. Smother in that bad boy and you're good to go. But no. Not for Bulk. No. So all of a sudden, weirdly, like, Skull has to find some other source of lotion. And we end up having this weird, goofy thing of mayonnaise, that ends up needing to appear and has its own weird mayo jingle or whatever. What the heck was that? So we have this mayo coming in, and Skull just decides, well, I'm just gonna plop this mayo on Skull and just consistently just start rubbing, and I am just like, and the actor, who of course is Paul, is a lovely man, don't get me wrong, but I am just watching a man rub another man's belly, and I am just, and I am just like, why does this exist in a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger show? Why? Do I ask you? Does it exist? And then I move on. Because I'm done with that noise. I'm done with that nonsense. What the fuck? What the show? So, and also, while I'm seeing this rubbing, I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about this episode. No. Just, I'm giving up all thought. So, rolling back into this episode, so Rita's all of a sudden taking a little snoozing. She's like, and Goldar is preparing for his surprise. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure this could be great. Just Goldar, just. Here's also the problem with this episode. There are so many times where they cut to just somebody saying one thing, and then they have to cut back to something else. And I'm just like, what is the point of that? You seriously had to get, like, who knows how much time putting somebody in a goddamn suit just for them to say one line of thing and then cut away to just whatever the heck else. And we put effort into that. Why? But then again, also, when you probably look at the show, like, people could probably have that complaint continuously, where it's like Alpha and Zordon, they have, like, these one little things that they have to go on and say, and then cut to, like, 20 minutes of Power Rangers battle. Like, what is the point of spending all that effort in the command center scenes when like it's just little blips of the episodes? But then continuously cutting to the Bandora Palace thing also, just like, there's sometimes where within these episodes, like, it feels like what they're kind of saying doesn't match with, like, we had just seen previous. So, like, there's one point where Rita is talking about, like, how the monster is beating up the Rangers, I think, in the 36th episode. And I'm like, okay, like, they edited this poorly because, like, maybe they just didn't really just care at that point, obviously, because Rita's talking about how, like, the Hatchosaurus is beating up the Megazord. I'm like, that's not going on at all. It's not going on at all. And then, all of a sudden, we then cue the scene that follows after that, and then, like, the Megazord and the Hatchosaurus are getting in a fight, and then the Hatchosaurus is beating the Megazord. And I'm like, okay, well, now that makes sense, but, like, you edited this crap poorly. Good God, show. Like, they just don't give a fuck. They don't. This show is like, oh man, it's going good. Like, man, this thing is just a well-oiled machine. Like, Sentai footage recycled and everything. Like, what do we need to write a show for? Come on. Like, The show just sells itself. Like, come on, everybody just loves the toys. What do we need to put together a good show for? Just whatever. Just it's a kid show. Just chuck it out there. Whatever. Or maybe it's not because you don't want to say anything is for kids on YouTube. No, 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 no. It's for teens. 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 Let's say it's for teens. Let's say it's Sentai footage, so it's actually for teens. Yeah, it's Sentai footage, everybody. It's teens. It's plussing up. Freaking guys are losing whole stomachs. They have whole stomachs. Yeah, that is some violent stuff there. Come on. Yeah, this is for older audiences. Yeah. Sure. Moving on. So let's move on here. So Tommy is going on and he's stretching it out. Like he's limbering it up. And Bulk ends up turning to Tommy, and I'm paraphrasing here, because this is not exactly what he's saying, but like it's kind of in my head, kind of what he should have gone on and said. Like Bulk is telling Tommy, it's like, hey Tommy, like there's plenty of commercials in the sea, and just go on home. Just you don't need to be here. Like I got this in the bag. Like just don't waste your effort. Don't waste your energy. Just go on home, Tommy. Bye bye. Bye bye. So, and then like Skull just slaps like Bulk in the back, and then Bulk's like, ah, my sideburn. So the I don't want to call him like a casting director character comes out, because I feel like that's for like a show, and then also I don't know who this person is, so I'm just gonna say like the people who are going on and wanting to look at these people to cast this show, like I'm just gonna call them like judges, instead of going on and like calling them like the people who are just kind of casting the show. So because maybe it's like a director, and maybe one of them is a casting director, and this and that. I don't know who they all are because they don't say who they all are. So we end up having one of these people come out, and so they're going on. I'm like, okay, like who's coming up for me to go on and take a good look at, and so like Skull gets close to the door, and the girl's like, oh, not you. And then she goes on and looks at Bulk, like, you, sir. And so Bulk ends up having his sunglasses on, and she's like, sunglasses off. And so Bulk, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm sorry, Paul. So Paul has to go on and he has to take these sunglasses off, and you could see the lining of his burn and his sunglasses, and then he's like, okay, I'm just gonna come in here and I'm just gonna look like a goon and chop all these papers and all of this nonsense. So so Bulk goes in and he ends up performing for these people, and so like he is just weirdly just punching in the air. He's just doing a lot of this going on, and then he goes on to like pretend to chop this table in front of them. Just doing a lot of this, and then Bulk goes on to like look at this chair, and he kicks it and breaks the chair, and then probably breaks his foot or his leg or something. And then so Bulk just like shuffles off. He's just like, ugh, like I broke something, but hey, I nailed that audition. Oh yeah, did I nail it? Oh yeah, Tommy just like bye bye. And So, like, Bulk leaves, and again, like, he's still looking at Tommy, and he's like, I'm their man, Tommy. And then he leaves. So, back with the Rangers, or the team. I should probably either call them teens or team when they're not morphed. So they're at the beach, and they get the surprise. Question mark, question mark, question mark, surprise. Yeah, it was really just... So, we get surprised by Scorpina. No boulder, no scorpion. And now I'm a little upset. I am really upset that we're not getting the boulder and the scorpion. Where is this footage, I do ask you? They have made the rock and the scorpion thing a thing now. You can't take that away from me. You can't take that away from me now that I've had so much fun with it. I am ticked. Seriously, look at my face. This is a man upset now. But so, with that just angry already, Scorpina and Putties, wow, what a change of roster rotation going on here. I would have liked to have seen what Finster can do against the Power Rangers for once. Could Finster come out there and just make some clay with the Power Rangers and just see what happens? Can we do that for an episode? I would love to see that. I am legit wanting to see Finster just go out there and just make some clay monsters with the Rangers just to see what they would do. That would be some prime time television right there. Swear. So, after Rangers seeing the shock of surprise and then the terror of just Scorpina and Putties, they're to just have to just focus on morphing at this point. They're just like, man, I don't know about that, but just Mastodon, I don't know what to do at this point. Just like Goldar, like he's really putting the boots to us. Like, man, some unique stuff going out. So, Scorpina goes on and she has this little bug in her hand. And that bug is like, as if we're like, just, like a Scorpina and a Spider-Man? Like, because this little bug-looking thing, the weave worm, which is just this tall, small little bug that fits into Scorpina's hand. And it, like, shoots this bit of just cocoonery that goes around the Rangers. Having them in this, like, just massive, like, jug of looking of a thing that they're now stuck in, that they're moving in their water and they can't breathe. Anyways, moving on. So, and I forgot where I am in my notes. So, their communicators are down because, of course, whenever there is to be like a shielding of something going on in the ether of Power Rangers, like if you haven't morphed, like you're already effed. And if you try to use your communicator, just don't even bother. Just assume that the communicators never work until Zordon calls you. Just don't even try to think that you can morph in any environment other than just your normal park or youth center or wherever normal surroundings, because if you try, it is bub-kiss waste of time. Because also, later on, when like I think Tommy and Kimberly and I think somebody else gets stuck in like a story, they think like, oh man, we should morph here, and they try to morph, and morphers don't work. It's like, well, of course, because you're in a different world other than just your normal just park or youth center or wherever the heck you guys usually just go on the average day, instead of being stuck in some pocket dimension or whatever goofy thing. Just, you know. But anyways, yeah, that's just here nor there. Just a little just banter, just going inside this brain noggin going on. So, and they can't teleport because also this thing doesn't work. So, I'm sorry. So Golar is commanding the putties to throw them in the ocean. Throw them in the ocean. Yeah, so they can feel movement and wet. So here's where Billy goes on and he tells us about the whole moving thing. And it feels like water. Yeah, I took a shower and I know what that feels like. So uh so back at the command center, Alpha and Zordon hope that the Rangers are brave and clever to break the cocoon. And I don't know if I've already said this, but how about they use their powers, their strength? You know, one of these bad gun things. And try to rip that cocoon. Instead, they're just moving and breathing in the water and something's going on there. So Zordon and Alpha are to go on and be like, well, maybe we should give Tommy a good old jangle on this thing, because maybe his works. No. Like, his works, but it's not on him. So, like, Tommy always has his just communicator in his bag, and it goes off while Tommy is going into doing his commercial. So, yeah. All for nothing. Perfect timing as always with Tommy. Goes into his audition as watch goes off. So Tommy goes on into the audition as the judges, when they go and they're with Tommy, they end up asking him a question. And then they bizarrely, like, have him go and do his thing with music in the background. I'm like, wait a minute, like, why didn't Bulk get the same treatment as Tommy did? Doesn't make sense. That doesn't seem fair. Like, different auditions for different people, but again, like, I guess they just naturally assumed it's like, man, this guy is gonna get this audition. Like, I hope he doesn't slip on a banana peel, because man, this guy is gonna just be it. So they end up playing these tunes. Tommy ends up doing this split, and he also, like, jumps on the table and, like, whoa, and, like, his junk is, like, almost right in their face, but he's, like, jumping on this table and, like, oh, all right, oh, wow. Like, if this were, like, America's Got Talent, they'd be just banging on those, like, things, just like, yeah, like, gold ticket for Tommy, like, let's go. I was thinking, like, banging on the things, but that, I think that ends up giving, like, people X's. So no, like, they end up just giving him the gold ticket thing, and they just have him go on to the final rounds, whatever. So back at the command center, and here's where, like, we start to get to these cutting of scenes where I'm just like, why did they take the time to do this? So back at the command center, Alpha turns to Zordon. It's like, well, Tommy didn't respond. And I am in my notes saying, kill me now. Just do it. I'm here. It's like freaking Arnold from Predator. Kill me now, I'm here. Do it. And then the Predator just like walks around, and then Arnold's like, "Mother, you mother, you ugly mother." So, of course, we just have Zordon, who's just like, "Well, just keep trying, Alpha." What good is that gonna do? Tommy has his computer communicator in the bag. What good is that, Zordon? No good at all, it seems. So, back with the Rangers at the Kakuna. Like, man, the air's getting thin in here. We got a Shucky to one side and then Shucky to the other. So we got things to do. So, and I'm just like, in my brain, I'm like, well, I like during the time of these notes, like I had gone on and just done some cardio, like a number of hours before. And I'm watching this episode. I'm like, well, hey, man, I know about like the thinning of air and just struggling to just like, man, I just got to keep going, just got to keep going. And so like, I feel like I'm there. Like the showering and the cardio, like with the experiences that they're going through in this episode, I'm like, I'm there. So, so Goldar, we just go to Goldar at the like the Bandor's palace, and he just says yes. And I'm like, no. What was the point of this shot? Cue back to the Rangers, and they have their blade blasters. And they finally realize, hey, maybe we should actually use our weapons to break through this cocoon. Do you think it's a good idea? I don't know. We didn't think of anything else. You probably should have thought of that. I don't know how many number of episodes before, but hey, let's bust out these weapons now. And I think also Jason is saying like, well, hey, like let's have the settings of the blasters. Let's have it at a certain setting, to just kind of see if this works. So they break through the cocoon, and I was like, weapons. What an idea. So, back at the command center, Zordon tells Alpha, the Rangers, so Zordon tells Alpha to tell the Rangers, when they're released, they're going to need their Zords because, Babe Ruthless is running amok on the town. So we of course go on and bring up the Rangers going for the Zords, and we have Babe Ruthless, Goldar, and Scorpina. And we seemingly have just normal Megazord. So in my brain, I'm like, how many times have we gone to this well and had so many monsters already on the field, and like the Megazord just wipes them out, and then the other lackeys, they just teleport away. Like at some point, I think that like Golar and Scorpina, they vanish just out of nowhere, but then they turn around and they still have things to do that relate to what's going on in the parts of the episode that they could have done still on the field, but they're just like, oh, no. No, why do we need to do that? Like, we just need to go to this other location and then just do this thing, and then just continue. Yeah, like, so much of this became a waste that I don't even really want to talk about it, but I'm here anyways. So, But if anything, like Babe Ruthless when he threw that curveball, and I'm like, oh wow, like this could be something interesting here. That we're seeing like a monster that's really playing into its baseball gimmick, but there's not enough time with this monster. So Billy goes on and he's making a plan with Zach to draw the other monsters away from the Tyrannosaurus Rex's or Jason Zord. And they end up doing nothing with that. All of a sudden, we have Saber-Tooth Tiger that is going on, and Saber-Tooth Tiger Zord is blasting. And so Jason is turning to everyone and saying like, uh, like set their powers to full. In my brain, I am just thinking like, where were their powers set at? Like, is there just some like default that they go to? Like, is it like the other episode where like they couldn't figure out percentages of power that the Megazord had, so they bizarrely were saying like, well, hey, wait a minute, like our Megazord is at like 25%. No, wait, it's at 50. No, wait, it's at nothing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like I would not trust any of these Rangers with any kind of power levels because logically, like they don't know what percentage is. So, like, I would not tell them to put the power on full because who knows what they'll do. Maybe they'll blow up their Zords. I don't know. I'm afraid. So, and plus also, like, they do dialogue that connects with nothing in the show. So, but yeah, so Saber-Tooth Tiger just does her blast again. We're using the same footage. And so now Tommy's done with his audition, and he makes his way back to his bag because he's hearing the dit 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 dit. Yeah, I guess I should answer this watch thing. I guess I should actually just be a Power Ranger today. That'd be a good idea. This is none of the fault of Jason David Frank or just like I get it. There's Sentai footage, but still, it's just man. But anyways, so Tommy ends up giving a good old jingle jangle to Zordon, and so Zordon is telling Tommy that the Rangers are at a industrial complex. All right, great. So Tommy gets out his dragon flute and just is to be calling for the Dragon Zord. So this whole thing is just to just toss together the Mega Dragon Zord because we're not calling it battle mode at any point a stretch of this entire review because why would we do that? So here's the weird thing. So Jason in prior episodes that the Mega Dragon Zord thing existed, he was in his Zord, and the Mega Dragon Zord was controlled by other Rangers. But oh no, that's not good enough for Jason in this episode. Jason has to go on and have his Zord controlled remotely. And in my mind, I'm like, why do we ever need anybody to be in any of the Zords when, like, we can just remotely just control anything, it seems. So why do we even need a guy just fluting it up on the Dragon Zord? We can just control that remotely, and then all the other Zords we can just control them remotely. All we need is just like one or just two people that are just fluting away and jumping and hopping in to whatever Zord, and they can just combine it all together. What do we need 6 people for? Because like all we need is just to put together a Megazord anyways. because that's the only way we defeat these monsters every week, is just to put together a Megazord. Why do we need Rangers to fight putties? Let's just quickly just put together a Megazord and just have some just attack being done for the Megazord and then just call it a day. Let's write ourselves out of every episode that way. So Babe Ruthless goes on and sprays some mist that ends up getting blocked by the Mega Dragonzord's staff that supposedly has like this small shield, but it's supposed to just block everything because of the staff just being so long. And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? All right. So we then go on and do the chest has a hole in it. Just very graphic. Just no child should ever see that horrible, horrible maneuver. Because the Mega Dragonzord drills into the monster's stomach, murdering him, and falls over. And he did. You know he did, right? So, bye-bye an actually interesting monster. So, here's where Golar disappears from the battlefield to threaten the Rangers off from a distance. The worst is coming, believe me, from a distance. But shaking his hand and whatever and what have you. Why does this exist? So, Jason all of a sudden is just telekinetic. He has the brain power. He is like Professor Xavier going on at this moment right now. Because all of a sudden, Jason is just like, what is that Zordon? Like, he's not doing this. He's just doing like, what is that Zordon? So, Zordon is going on and telling Jason Scorpina is in Angel Grove to make the weave monster, the weave worm monster giant. And I am just like, the logic that is going on here. So, they end up having to, like, get out of the Zords just to then recall the Zords. Because, like, they go and meet up with Scorpina, but then, like, Scorpina ends up just making the weave worm giant. And so let's just, they deform the Mega Dragonzord to get back to the regular, this bad boy, the Dino Megazord. I'm like, oh, what a change. Great. I missed the Dino Megazord. Yeah, like, I can just go on and love the Dragon Zord and possibly just remind me that the Green Ranger exists in the show somewhere, with that being an existing thing within Mega Dragon Zord. But still, like, I miss this guy. I miss this. So, Weave Worm, gets the Megazord, and it ends up going on and cocooning it. So, Jason ends up going and crying for Tommy's help. And so, Tommy appears yet again, just, hey guys, I'm still in this episode. I'm ready and I'm morphed. And I have completely forgotten that Tommy existed. Oh yeah, that guy. So Tommy Dragon Zords a coming, and so Dragon Zord goes on and swats the cocoon with its tail and frees the Dino Megazord. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like, again, because heaven forbid, like, the Megazord ends up calling for the power or Megazord, and then that frees the Dino Megazord from the cocoon. No, we specifically had to call the Dragon Zord to give us a little help. Sure. So we then switch to the Mega Dragon Zord to do a energy attack. The weird ball of a thing, Hadouken, that it does. And I'm like, okay, at least this is something different. And it does away the monster, and I'm like, why couldn't we have gone on and had the Wee Worm up at bat first, and then just said, like, well, hey, we're kind of running out of time, so let's bring in the Babe Ruthless thing to just kind of pat, but just storytelling in my brain is just, just it's it's clearly not there. So Rita goes on and insults her lackeys, that she needs to be involved in every fight, and go on and give everybody permission of what to do in future. And Goldar, of course, again, he can't go on and not go a day without throwing somebody under the bus, because that's just his existence in life. So Goldar is like, well, it's Finster and his bad monsters. Like, maybe that's why Goldar has just been like the top run of just bad guys, for because he always just has some shade to just throw somewhere, and like immediately Rita or Zed or whoever is just like, oh yeah, Goldar, whatever you said. Like, it obviously wasn't your fault, even though the entire episode was to have been under his freaking charge. Rita was just like, you know what, like, Goldar, like, I'm farting air over here. Like, how about you go on and I'm pooped. Like, you take full control, and like, it's on you on this one. Like, if anything goes wrong, so. But we have completely have forgotten within this episode that Goldar was like head honcho in charge. But it's not his fault. I take it. Whatever. Just whatever with this episode. So uh let me see here where I'm at. So yeah, here we go. So at the youth center, uh we have Ernie that is going on and asking the Rangers about the beach. Like, hey, like, did you guys enjoy the beach? And the Rangers like, about that beach. So all of a sudden there's to be the news coverage of the Power Rangers whooping that ass one more time. Yeah. High five. Cowabunga says it all. Cowabunga. Yeah. No, I wish. We're not gonna get to that till Power Rangers in space. What does that mean? Yeah, I'm talking about future episodes. We get the Ninja Turtles crossover. Yeah, it's the mutation thing that everybody just hates. I saw that show. I don't have a problem with it. Whatever. Like, yeah, there's a girl turtle. Whatever. It's Venus. Whatever. Anyways, so uh So Kim goes on and is seeing Tommy and is to go on and ask him about like the commercial. And so all of a sudden we then see this karate commercial. Bulk comes up first and he does all his moves and it's just the giggity giggity laugh. Like haha, like look at Bulk and he's a schmuck. And then Tommy goes on and he does all of his stuff. And so they end up using the worst and the best footages in the commercial just to pitch to people like, oh yeah, uh definitely go on and like uh go and sign up for this karate center. And I'm like, wait a minute, who knows if either Bulk or Skull did anything with this karate center? Like, this is false advertisement. Like, you're basically just, yeah, what is this commercial? It's garbage. So after that, like, the Rangers are just kind of laughing like at like Bulk just because it's like, oh yeah, like look at you, you schmuck, like look how you looked in this commercial. And so yeah, so like that's just kind of the finishing up of this episode. So the next episode, of course, to be the Yolks on You, because of course, if you don't remember, the previous episode was The Star Is Born. So this is to go on and state that this is the Tommy ends up getting tied up in the rope episode again. Um, but but that Fang thing just has some redeeming qualities about it, you know. So uh, we are to go on and be at Angel Grove High. They're putting together a talent show. Talent show sounds like a good idea for a concept for an episode. So, and it seems to be put together by the principal. Because every once in a while, like, I guess we don't have much going on as far as like faculty beyond like either Mrs. Appleby or the principal. Like, no one else from this school really exists. Like, they couldn't have gone on and just found some schmuck to just be like some part of the school. Like, also we have like Ernie pitching in for also being like within this talent show. It seems that he's kind of helping out. So I'm like, man, Ernie, like not only are you doing the youth center, but you're working out with like some of the school stuff, as well as also every time we were to see like something going on with some kind of contest or something, like it's either gonna be at the school or it's gonna be at the youth center, whatever it is. Like, just yeah, it's whatever. Moving on. So Tommy and Jason are making their way into this talent show, and they're just kind of being greeted by the principal, and then they just kind of enter. So Jason and Tommy are looking at Ernie. It's like, hey man, how's it going? And Ernie's like, well, hey, like we're missing props. And Tommy's like, oh yeah, Jason, like we forgot our belts. And Jason's like, even like, oh, who cares? Like, we don't really need our belts. Like, come on. Like, and Tommy's like, no, like, I gotta do whatever I have to do to get our belts. And I gotta leave. I'm sorry. So then so Tommy leaves. So come to find out, Fencer is to find out that it's Rita's birthday. And Fencer goes on like doing business for himself, and he's just like, well, I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna create this monster. I'm gonna create Fang for Rita for her birthday. And so Fencer just goes on and just makes this monster and just decides to just send it out. And Fang just Tra-la-la's just all over the place and is just trotting along, and no one's the wiser. Like Alpha, Zordon, just no alerts going off. It's just like, oh, it's just Fang. Like, you know what? Like, he's just a guy that just wants some eggs. Just leave him alone. Like, he's okay. Like, the dude has his eggs. Like, no one cares. Like, it's cool. Just let him just be on his own. So also here is where like we start to get to a point where like the Finster scenes are very limited. Like, we don't go on and have Rita come to Finster and Finster makes up the monster right in front of her, or tells her anything about the specialties of the monster. Oh, no. We just need to just shuffle these monsters off, and like we don't even need to know anything about them. Like, because there's nothing cool about these monsters anymore, right? So weirdly also like here's where we get uh the monster and we get the close up of its mouth, and then they eventually fade off, and I'm like, man, like it looked gruesome, but then but a face though. So back at the Angel Grove High School, we have Ernie that's like scrambling with the students to find certain things, and Bulk and Skull are at this like backstage, and they're looking for eggs also. If not only to have Fang be doing a similar feat. So Bulk and Skull are backstage, and they're looking at these eggs in this weird uh, container like thing, and all of a sudden the principal like ends up like, well, hey, Bulk and Skull, what are you doing here? And they make up some excuse where like Bulk is looking for this guitar, and Skull grabs these cymbals and he bangs them. And immediately in my brain, I'm thinking of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Mikey. He ends up like taking the cymbals and clinging, and then all of a sudden, like he starts doing that with the foot later on in the movie. And like I'm just thinking, like, man, we can go on and just have Power Rangers episodes where like they just have these symbols and they're clinging all the putties. Like that would be freaking just sweet, just to see that. But like weirdly, like Skull clings the symbol, and that all of a sudden gives like a vibration to both Bulk and the principal, and they're like, oh, they're like jiggling all over the place. So uh back with good old Fang, but his face. And Fang is running around as Rita watches on, and like she's watching from her like telescope this time around instead of going on. It's like, oh, I see. So here's the weird thing I start to notice. The more and more that I watch, like the monsters and they do their dialogue, weirdly, I think there's a lot of times where they're just looking face forward to the camera, or sometimes weirdly where the camera like changes, then like the monsters they'll go from there, and then they'll come back to like just straight like it feels like a lot of times I want to go on and I want to ask these monsters like, who are you talking to? Cause you would think that like with Rita facing forward and like Goldar, he's kind of like facing forward, but then he's kind of like just the angles that they're going with. I'm just like, probably some of these monsters can't even freaking see. But again, like everybody's just facing forward to the camera, and the conversations like, who are they talking to? So confused. Um, but anyways, besides that point, let's get into it. So after the symbol, so Rita's asking who is to have been the one that put out a monster without giving her consent to have gone on and done so. Because from the last episode, there seems to be some kind of continuity that ties from that. So I'm like, thank God somebody was thinking here. So immediately, eventually, Rita like just puts the pieces together and figures out. It's like, oh well, it must just be Finster. Yeah. So Goldar is just like, well, like, guess what you're going to be doing today, buddy? Like, you're going to go on and you're going to be helping out this monster. Because that's what you always do. So, and of course, Rita sends Goldar on his happy helping way. So, all of a sudden, we end up seeing Tommy. And this is the goofiest I think I've ever seen Tommy. Because he's going on and he's just kind of like, this will be great, this will be cool. And then he goes on and he like takes his foot and then he kicks the branch and he's like, yeah, all right, oh yeah. What the heck is Tommy doing? Like, did the people filming this think like, oh yeah, like this scene, so worth it, man? Like Tommy, like wow, what a good cut there. Tommy looks like a goober in this scene, but whatever, just get the scene done, right? Just, God. So, Rita realizes that Tommy is near her monster. So, guess what they're gonna do? Gobble, gobble, gobble. We gotta send out some putties. So, Tommy goes on and he fights putties. And I'm like, whatever. Whatever. I am so freaking done with this. So, putties are doing cartwheels. I'm like, wow, this is something different. Let me see this show. So, Tommy goes on and he takes two putties and he like slams them back to back together. I'm like, okay, this is something different we're seeing here. Like, I could be entertained by this forcibly. So they end up going on and actually taking Tommy's communicator from his hand. Tommy doesn't have his communicator in his bag this time. He has it on his hand. And so they take that from him. And I am just like, wow. Things have changed upon this show. So, and then they go in and then they also have Tommy like try to chase after the buddies. Like, okay, like I can get some practice in. And so like he goes on and he follows these putties and he ends up getting stuck in this net trap. And I'm just like, man, is this an episode of Looney Tunes? Like, okay, whatever. Like, hey, like, I'm enjoying this somehow. So, first, Tommy then loses his communicator. And then when he gets put into the net trap, all of a sudden his morpher falls to the ground. And the putty's like, let's collect the morpher. All right, yeah. All right, like, I don't know what it is with the slipperiness of people losing their morphers and their communicators, and they don't really work anyway. So whatever. Like, so how long have I been doing this for? An hour and 19 minutes. All right. Well, like, how many episodes have I only gotten into? Probably a whole one. So this is probably the second one. All right. So, and again, in my mind, I was thinking like, okay, Tommy's in this trap, And I'm thinking, are the Rangers going to go on and come and help him? I'm like, highly unlikely. This is what I have in my notes. So, Squat and Babu go on with Goldar, and they make their way to these unusual eggs. And I guess since no one else is just calling dibs this day, they just crack these mothers open and they just consume the yolk. And they're like, oh yeah, like Squirtle's like, oh yeah, this tastes great. I'm just gonna consume it. And like weirdly, like the slime goes into his mouth, but then it's like coming pretty much all out of his mouth because these monsters can't actually consume things. And then also like just think of probably like that mouthpiece probably having to also be like the eyes of that character, maybe. Because if you probably think of like the Ninja Turtles in the movie, like the mouth part is actually where the eyes are, or where the mouth is, where you can breathe, and it's just full of probably slime now or something. But anyways, that's gotta suck. So here's where Fang appears, and of course he's upset about Squad and Babu that had gone on and ate his lunch. And I am just like, man, Fang, kill him, sick him, get him. Yeah, like they took your lunch, buddy. So, uh, Goldie Bird eggs is to have been the whole cause of this kerfuffle, and I guess they're like Fang goes on and be like, well, hey, I can't just go downtown at some grocery store and just buy more of these. Like, it's very rare to find them. And so, like, Fang is just so upset that he's willing to take out uh, Squat and Babu and also probably Goldar just because of this whole kerfuffle. So, now back with Billy and the rest of the gang. So, Billy's kind of concerned. It's like, well, hey, what's keeping Tommy? And Jason is like, well, yeah, like he isn't answering his communicator. Well, he again doesn't have it on him this time around. So they assume it's like, well, hey, since he's not answering his communicator, like he must be in trouble. Like, yeah, like think of the past where like Zach and Kimberly are at the Rad Bug and they're waiting for Jason. I'm like, man, like Jason, like he's been gone for like quite a while now. Like, and he knows that he should be here. Maybe he's in some trouble. No, we'll just leave and we'll just go off without him. Like he'll just have to figure something else out. But I don't know. Like when Tommy, when like it seems like he's been gone for a very long time. Like they just probably just think like, oh, like he's taking a bathroom break, and like no, like they actually think like, well, he must be in trouble. So Zordon teleports the Rangers to the command center, and so Zordon goes on to explain that Tommy's being held captive. But who cares? If anything, Fang is on the loose, so the Rangers morph and they teleport uh, to of course the fight. So Goldar manipulates Fang that the Power Rangers have Fang's eggs. So Fang, of course, at a fit of rage and then probably just starvation, uh, Fang slices into the Rangers and throws rocks at them, which I'm like, okay, like this fight not bad, like actually entertaining. And so Goldar ends up taking his sword, and he weirdly ends up doing this blast that I've seen every once in a while, but still, it's still just kind of interesting to me. Uh, as the Rangers fall to the ground, Jason calls out for Tommy. Uh, and off the distance, we have the putties. They're playing with uh, Tommy's morpher and his communicator. So Rita then shows up. and she shows up in the midst of this whole fight. And so Rita's going on and she's looking at Fang in the eyes, or whatever goofy things are up there. And what she ends up doing is she's like, oh, well, like, you want these egg things? Well, I can go on and give you said egg things. And so she makes them reappear uncracked, perfect, and whatever. And then Fang is like, oh my god, I have the eggs. And then Rita changes it to where they are empty and cracked again. And Fang is like, oh, I want these eggs. So that gets Fang even more upset, more than he was yesterday. So that is to, of course, go on and motivate Fang to, like, well, hey, like, if you want these eggs, you gotta beat these Rangers to get them. So Rita then goes on and makes, of course, Fang grow giant, because we gotta do this thing. Call for the Zords, because we don't have enough of that in this show. So we go on to get the Dino Megazord. Yay. Woo! So Fang is now desperate for the eggs, assuming still the Rangers have them. Yeah, because where do they keep these massive eggs? Do they have them in their little gun pouch? I don't think so. Where are they hiding these bad boys? So here's where Jason replies, like, Rita lied, and if Fang won't stop fighting, they'll need to finish him. And they need to give it all they got. So Rita all of a sudden notices a dam nearby. And I just gotta keep saying the word dam because it sounds funny to me. So Rita looks at the dam, and then, like, Fang, like, hey, look at this thing. And, like, Fang is like, ah. So yeah, so it ends up being this weird staring match thing that they connect together to just figure this out. So then Rangers notice it, and it's like a race to the dam. That damn thing, it just is so damn hard to get to it. So back with Tommy, like, you know what, like, he's just kind of had his fun for the day. He really just needs to go on and just needs to go on and be a Ranger now. Like, he just, you know, like, there's only so much you can just hang on to a net, and, you know. So Tommy figures out a way to escape from his net, and he's now, like, swinging from it. And so he drops onto two putties and knocks him out. And he gets his stuff back to Morph, so he can just flute his way to another Dragon Zord. So the Dragon Zord tail comes in. And I think hits Fang, and then they end up calling for the Dragon Zord battle mode. Yeah, whatever you want to call it this week. So, and then they end up calling for the Ultra Zord to fire all they got, because that's the thing. So then we go on and have the team make their way back to the talent show. And as perfectly as they are to go on and arrive, Zordon goes on and praises the Rangers for the victory in battle. And then Ernie appears and tells, like, hey, Jason, Tommy, you're up next. So Jason and Tommy go up there and they do their keto, their moves and whatever. And then it looks like they're sparring one another. And then they go on and they break some wood. I'm like, man, I'm going to break some wood in a minute here. And So, because bizarre, like I have to go on and just now make just wood jokes, let's just say, specifically in this episode. And then also there's gonna be in the later half of this, hopefully we get there. Yeah, where there's kids and they're going on and they're saying, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and I'm like just like what jokes could I make from this? And then I look at all the kids and I'm like, I can't make this joke. This is weird. This is awkward. No. But good God, did I just desperately want to make a lot of jokes there? Oh yeah, that's what she said. No. Anyways, so we then transition to then having Bulk and Skull go on after them, and they end up trying to play the song, but then all of a sudden, like they just while they're like playing, they just get too far into it, and like then everybody just turns and just laughs at them. So huzzah for that. So now we're getting to the green candle part 1 and 2. We're getting into that. We're getting into the candles. So bizarrely in this episode, here's the goofy thing that didn't make sense to me. So they have to go on and they have to like recap what's going on in the episode, and I am just confused. Why do you have to tell me what's going on in the episode? I'm going to tune in. Believe me, I am going to go on and want to know what's going to go on in this specific two-parter. Why are you recapping to me ahead of time what's going to go on in this episode to make sure I tune in? I am just confused. Is this just another eating up of that old good buddy time there? I question. So, and then also when I'm seeing like the pre-recapping, I just want to finger that mother right there. I am just like no. So I so want to just give me the episode. I want to flip you off so badly, freaking people who decided to just give me a pre-recap. So, beginning of the episode, we have Tommy and we have Zach and they're sparring it out. I'm like, okay, this is something effing new. All right. What are you giving me some false hope here, show? So Zach asks Tommy about the dance, and Tommy's all nervous about asking Kim, and so Zach is like, dude, I know Kimberly, like she'll say yes. So here we go on, and we have Zach, and he's grabbing this piece of wood for Tommy to break, and I'm like, yeah, let's break more wood. And I'm looking down, I'm like, I have no wood left to break. I'm sorry. I already took out that wood a little time ago. Like, I don't think I have the strength in me to get some more wood. Maybe at some point I'll be thinking about Kim, and then that's where I can get some more wood. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so why am I doing these jokes? Because I think they're funny, even though they're not. Anyways, moving on. So we'll get to that Kim part fairly soon. So Rita has a plan that Goldar half explains. And so Rita ends up going on and she gets this map. Why is she getting a map out to try to find where Tommy is? Can she conclude that Tommy is to either be in Angel Grove High, a park somewhere, command center, or the youth center? Straight up, that's like 4 places. Very rarely is he anywhere but those 4 places. So get out your telescopa and go into those locales. Why do you need a map to find where Tommy is? I'm so she also has to get like her miniature like action figure wand out and then plop it onto the map. Sure. So but let's move past that. So we're back with Zach and Tommy and they're sparring again. And now like Tommy is really, instead of focusing on the fight, he's in his mind about that Kimberly. So and now I'm thinking about Kimberly and I'm thinking about that wood. I hope there's a wood breaking scene soon. No? Oh. So now that Tommy is so distracted thinking about that Kimberly, Zach takes Tommy down and Zach's looking at Tommy. It's like, dude, what's up? And he's like, I'm thinking about Kimberly. And Zach is like, man, like now, like you're focused on this. And like now you really need to go on and ask Kimberly out like immediately. Like, so you need to get this off your mind. You just need to just. God, I was gonna say something really dirty here, but let something about a nut. But let's move on. So, here's where Zach, because he has to be this pickup artist. If you don't know what a pickup artist is, really like there's a whole dating show called A Pickup Artist, and there's this guy who goes on and shows a technique of how to pick up women, and they made a whole show about it. And then also like I'm sure the whole world probably had seen that show, and then just be like, okay, well, like that's gonna ruin the whole show. Like if women see this show and men see the show, like any of these things that men are gonna try, like that isn't gonna work on a woman because they figured it out. Whatever. Um, but anyways, like I thought it was like entertaining to just be like, okay, like I think you can take some of that stuff and like use it in your day to day, but like not all of it's gonna work. Like maybe the peacocking stuff when putting on clothes, maybe that might work. But also, some people be like, "Man, that dude looks like a freak," because like he's walking around, he's wearing like all of this stuff, and just okay, what's going on with that dude? So, but anyways, I'm getting too far in the weeds here. Let's reel myself back here. So, Zach again, because we've had this in the past, where Zach is like telling guys how to pick up women. He did that with Billy before. So we have Zach like slide in front of Angela, and Angela again is not giving Zach the time or the day. Because anyways, Zach is also like talking around Angela as if Angela cannot hear him. So Zach all of a sudden is like, well, hey, now I'm going to dance and get her attention. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to chuck and jive. And she'll just be like, oh my God, it's Zach. And he's dancing. Oh my God, he hasn't done that through any of the other episodes in front of me. Oh my God, I just need to just throw myself at him. No, because Angela is like, you got to earn that woman. Mm-mm. No, Zach. You ain't going to go on and just so easily just chuck and jive in front of Angela and she will just swoon in front of you. No, that's not how it's going to work. You got to earn that woman, Zach. You got to earn her. You got to earn her. It's going to take quite a few episodes, but eventually you're going to go on a thing called a date at some point, probably after she just continues to just reject you and burn you and hurt you. she'll just finally just be like, man, that like she's gonna just pity on Zach and then finally just relent. Probably because she's just tired of freaking like also look at like Kevin Bacon in Footloose. Did like Kevin Bacon in Footloose just like never, never, never gonna hide and like he like danced around that one woman in Footloose and then she just like dated him? No. That's not how it worked in Footloose. Like Kevin Bacon was like helping other people dance. And he was going on and doing that whole speech where he's like weeping and mourning, but there is a time to dance. Like, and he didn't even care about that girl. Like, so yeah, like, and eventually that girl was just like, well, hey, like, it seems like we're at like the same goal both together. So how about we just dance together? Yeah, like, so Kevin Bacon didn't even have to do work in that movie to get that woman. So back to Power Rangers, because I've already been talking for way too long. So Zach gets rejected again. And so Bulk and Skull come to the fold. And here's where we get the poetry. The poetry of Dear Bulk and Skull. Where Bulk ends up having to weirdly take his jacket and put it over his head. I don't know why, but he's doing this. And eventually, like, that'll be karma for doing that because his head gets stuck. So, Bulk and Skull giving a poetry moment. Roses are red, violets are blue. No one in the world will go out with you. So, and then here is where we then go on and have Bulk, who regrets this decision of having his head over his coat, because like his head gets stuck. He's like, oh, I can't breathe. And then he falls over. And so Tommy and Zach are like, hey, girls, gather round. Wait a minute. So, like, Tommy and Zach are having girl problems, but they can go on and just command women to just gather around them. And then we then go on and then just have Tommy and Zach with their own poetry moment where, as the ladies laugh at Bulk and Skull, roses are red, violets are blue. We sure can learn anything from you. Not. So, back at the Bandora's Palace, Rita and Goldar plan on sending putties to take Tommy as Tommy is going seemingly to meet up with Kimberly to ask her out. And if it's not putties, it's always putties. So, Tommy and Kim, here's again where anytime there's anything to do with dating whatsoever, with the exclusion of Zach and Angela, because Zach is a smooth operator. Like, let's just say that. It's the one time where I can feel that like a kind of somebody getting to try and date with somebody doesn't feel awkward. But again, we still usually have awkward things going on with dating in Power Rangers because we just try to avoid doing it or dance around it or footloose dance, who knows. But so back with Tommy and Kim. So Tommy doesn't know how to ask Kim about this whole dance thing, and he never will. Because all of a sudden the putties arrive. You know what? If Tommy could have just gone on and just approached Kim, just be like, you know how a normal day is, where you just want to go on and you just want to meet up with a girl and ask her out on a dance. She obviously says yes because you know that she likes her, or you know that she likes you and vice versa and whatever. But like that just never happens to a guy like me. Because so putties even have to go on and just interrupt like what's going on in the show and just interrupt me from just not even continuing on my reviews because I am to just be like at just a loss here. So this finding of Kim and Tommy actually feels worth watching. Huzzah, it's great. So we have Tommy coming in with these like flying kicks. I'm like, okay, something new. And it seems that like Kimberly's like fighting tactics, it looks fairly familiar, but I don't know. Like Kimberly rarely fights in this show, or we really like see her fighting, I think, to where like she could go on and do the same three moves and I just wouldn't recognize it. I just wouldn't for some weird reason. Like I just don't think it happens often enough. Um because I think really when we any other time like we see yeah, like Kimberly is always fighting with somebody at some point. Like either Zach or Trini. But yeah, but like I think she just gets lost in the shuffle. So like yeah, I don't know what they're doing with trying to hide with the fact of maybe Kimberly doesn't have a huge move set, but like I don't know, it's just lost on me every single time. So uh here is where Kimberly she loses her morpher, and we do the whole like we then have like this scramble to try and get it. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Like we never have this culminate with Kim getting the morpher back and then she morphs. No, like it's just this weird mad scramble to just get the morpher back. I'm like, okay, like this is different. Like I can enjoy this. So like this is all simple but yet effective. Is how I just wrote this in the notes. Like what's going on here? Like they try to do something different here and I can applaud them for that. Finally, to just like it's something just small, but anyways, so uh Tommy ends up having to be forcibly like flipped backwards by a monster, and uh Kim still plays keep away, uh and so this goes on and reminds me of course another Ninja Turtles 2 reference. This reminds me of the like the 1, 2, 3 punt, and like so like the turtles end up like kicking the canister and it ends up going flying, and they end up doing like the whole football thing where like, hey Mikey, throw it over here, hey Mikey, throw it over here, and then he throws it. It's like so like this whole scramble of a thing just reminds me of that movie and that enjoyment of that whole like, man, is Kimberly gonna get her morpher back? This is interesting, this is exciting. So Kim gets ever so close to her morpher. She's like fingertips away, and then the putties end up grabbing her and dragging her away from it. I'm like, all right, like build the suspense of this. Again, this is simple, but freaking effective. So then we go on, and after like Kimberly has been grabbed and dragged, we then have Tommy who's suffering the same fate. So then Goldar appears, and the putties just completely forget that just Kim's there, and they just drop her, and then they all just circle around Tommy, and then Tommy disappears, and Kimberly's like, Tommy, yeah, whatever. So, uh, so yeah, so all of this is just really good telly. So Tommy, of course, is a very seemingly familiar with the next surroundings that he is to appear in, which of course is to be the Dark Dimension. So And we would, of course, easily have to go on to realize that Tommy is going to be without his morpher. And this thing is going to work, because of course it isn't. Tommy tries to use it, and guess what? It doesn't work. Too bad, so sad, it doesn't work. So, Goldar here ends up giving Tommy an ultimatum to choose to serve Rita or have the green candle run out of Tommy's power. And like I think Tommy at one point is to even go on and ask like, well, what green candle? And then Goldar moves and it's like right there and it's starting to flicker and whatever. So let me so where am I? So here I am, direct the day. Right, there we go. So Rita goes on and is to at the Bandor's Palace. I feel like I have to transition weirdly here. So Rita, of course, ends up needing, what do you got for me, Finster? And so Rita is to rely on Finster for this monster, and so Finster's like, well, I'm going to create the best one. So here's where Finster creates Cyclops, and I'm like, good, yeah. Create that Cyclops, all right. So Cyclops, we end up finding out, is this this monster that goes on and mirrors other Megazords, because heaven forbid it actually just becomes a Ranger and fights off against other Rangers. No. We don't need that in this show. We just need the Cyclops monster just to change into other Megazords, because that's all we have time for, right? So, now back with Tommy at the Dark Dimension. Tommy kicks and punches Goldar, but like Goldar just tosses him aside. So at the command center, Kimberly makes her way to be worried about Tommy's manipulation to turn evil again, and I think all the other Rangers are all there at the command center to just figure and put the pieces together what's going on here. So and then also in my brain, I'm like, would this be so bad if Tommy like does turn evil again? I think this would actually be really good for the show. We could have another 5-parter. Like, you guys can recycle and reuse the old Sentai footage all over again, and like we can just see this battle face off again, and then maybe this time around, like in between the Sentai footages, maybe you can come up with better story. Anyways, so yeah, all the rest of the Rangers are at the command center because Billy has a thing to note here. So Billy Nord's Zordon can track Tommy, and the viewing globe shows that the Dragon Zord is running amok. So they all of a sudden think that the worst is possible, that Tommy has turned evil, and that the Dragon Zord is to be destroying the town. And they're like, oh no. So they're like, oh no, we have to like destroy Tommy now and his Zord. But Zordon is like, oh no. Like, this Zord is a ruse. No. Like, this is not who you think that it is. So Jason is possibly thinking that, like, well, this could be a trap, but like trap or not, like they need to act. So back at the Bandor's Palace, Rita is forcing Goldar, Goldar forcing Rita forcing Goldar's assistance. So Goldar then decides, like, well, you know what, since Tommy's in this dark dimension, like, I'm just gonna, like, just put, like, this magical chain on Tommy's wrists, but, like, Tommy should be able to move around, right? But he's not moving around. Like, he just has chains on his wrist that I guess are just having him not to be able to move at all in this dark dimension room. It makes no sense. So Tommy's watching as this candle is burning. So Rangers are to, of course, face off against Goldar and Putties instead of Cyclops. So in my brain, I'm like, well, like, shouldn't the bigger threat have been, like, to go after, like, the Dragon Zord, even though it's trapped? Probably. Anyways, so, but if anything, I was like, let's get to the Cyclops thing because that's more of an interesting fighting sequence. So we still have the Dragon Zord that is going on and just destroying the town, and so now Jason is like, oh yeah, like he fears the city's destruction, and so then he ends up calling for the Zords. So let me get this straight. Tommy is stuck in a net, but they don't care about him because there's a bigger threat going on. But yet in this very exact same episode, there is a massive Dragon Zord that is wreaking havoc on the city. But the Rangers just think, oh no, we don't need to focus on that. Let's go on and let's focus on Goldar and these putties. God help me with the writing of this show. So we then go and have the Megazord being formed. The Dino Megazord, because like we don't really have the use of Dragon Zord coming on here. So the Dragon Zord clone is really outshining the Megazord to where like Jason I think even says that it's like, man, like this clone is just as powerful as the regular Dragon Zord. So Goldar then returns to the Dark Dimension to inform Tommy of his friend's possible loss, and I think this is where Tommy doesn't have his chains now, and Tommy goes and he kicks away Goldar's sword, but then eventually he goes and he takes Goldar's sword away from him, and he is to go on reverse the way to teleport out of the dark dimension. And so anyways, we go into where am I here? I'm so confused. So once Tommy does go on and he's with Goldar back where once he came, Tommy then quickly morphs and I think he teleports away after that. And so Tommy then goes on and he gets his Dragon Zord, and he's floating away, but like the Dragon Zord isn't coming. He's like, okay, like what do I so Tommy then realizes that his powers are weakening because of the burning of the candle. So, but eventually the Dragon Zord does come. So the Dragon Zord does tail the clone, and the clone appears as other Megazords briefly. And I'm like, okay, so we're kind of finally figuring out like the weakness of this character to like tell the difference between the clone one and the other good Megazords. Like there really wasn't any like with this Cyclops, there wasn't any confusion scenes of like, oh, which one is which. There was never a playing around of that. There like whenever you go on and you get like clones being done like this one they never really did anything with like the whole confusion of it all. It that just kind of sucked. So uh the Cyclops eventually, after realizing that it's outnumbered, it disappears. So Rita goes on and is to continue to watch the green candle burn. So back to the command center, Alpha is scanning Tommy for eternal damage from the dimension hopping, but it seems like he's clear. I'm like, wait a minute, like, why didn't Alpha do that before when Jason was at the dark dimension? Or whenever anybody would have gone on and went to certain places that were hopping anywhere, like, why didn't Alpha go on and scan any of them? Like, I, too much pulling of why am I going into all of this? So, but also like there was never like Jason was in the dark dimension. Jason will be in the dark dimension, and scan never happens. Whatever. So, uh, so Tommy ends up having to tell the team that he's going to lose his powers, as Zordon says, like, well, that's more than just a possibility. That is to be a guarantee that it will be true. And uh, there is to be this weird candle that is to be from the Gamma Tri system that Tommy had gone on to touch at one point while he was evil, that had given Rita then this opportunity to like, okay, well, I'm gonna have Tommy then lose these powers. So uh so really at this point we have to realize that Tommy is on borrowed time. So that's where of course we end up getting the to be continued. So next episode, Tommy still hasn't accepted uh that the connection with his powers is connected to this candle. Because this is to be the following episode, so I guess this is to just kind of do a bit of a recap. Because heaven forbid, in this episode specifically, we have to recap what happened last week or what's going on in this episode. Because F all of that nonsense. We just have to do that in one episode, and that's it. Whatever. Just, I'm sorry for stretching this out. So someone must go on and make their way to the dark dimension to retrieve the candle, and it can't be Tommy. It's going to accelerate it's going to accelerate the candle. It's going to accelerate Rita being able to get Tommy's power. So someone else has to take on the task. So Jason volunteers like, well, hey, I've been to the dark dimension before. Even though Zach is going to eventually jump his way into the dark dimension, like, oh no, like it just can only be Jason because he's had experience. I guess he doesn't have experience enough to know that he should probably morph into the dark dimension, but that's just me. That's just me just thinking that Jason should maybe have some kind of, you know, uh, extra power, sword, blade blast, or something just on him. maybe just kind of be more prepared for what he's going into. But it's just good old me, you know what I'm saying? So, uh, but Tommy's like, well, Jason, I can't risk you going to the dark dimension. Because again, Tommy's not thinking of himself. So, but the team eventually convinces Tommy that it's like, well, Jason is like the perfect person to go. All right, okay, sure. So here's the thing, like, Tommy can't even like wait by these weird decoder things. Like, he just can't wait by the dark dimension thing to see how this turns out. No, 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 no. He needs to just stay at the command center until this thing is done and over with. Like, how is it that they just have to continue to single out Tommy so much so in the show? It's ridiculous. So, weirdly, here is how they get to the whole decoder thing. The whole decoder weird mechanism that they end up having to have this weird name for this whole thing. So, Alpha had somehow tracked the putties going into the dark dimension. There's this weird signature that they found. So, they somehow can replicate said signature to be able to send Jason to the dark dimension. So, but here's the problem. Goldar is watching over this candle like a hawk, and the candle will like just go into all of their future plans. So, back at the command center, Billy makes the molecular decoders uh, to to locate the putty signature as the Rangers teleport out. Without Tommy, yeah. So here's where Tommy is to go on and be like, "Good luck, my friends." Uh, so Rita wants Cyclops back out there to impersonate a Megazord to run out the candle, to distract the Rangers, and so on and so forth. Because again, like, the Dragon Zord is just a hard call away. So, uh, we come to find that the Rangers are trying to figure out how these decoder things are working. And Billy is going on and telling the Rangers, like, well, hey, we have to find the perfect spot. And we have to put them in the perfect order, or this isn't going to work. So, as they're going on and trying to figure this out, we have Bulk and Skull that have to arrive because, man, these guys just, like, they are so freaking needy and they have to go on and mess with everything. So, Bulk and Skull end up saying that they own the park, and the Rangers are like, well, hey, this is a public place. And so Bulk and Skull are looking at the decoders and like, well, hey, let me see that. Let me touch that. And so Zach at one point goes on and is playing Keep Away from Bulk and Skull. We're playing Keep Away again. And Bulk ends up landing in this dumpster, or in this barrel. And he starts rolling down this hill. If it was so hard for them to get up the hill, now they're rolling down the hill. Skull is running after him. So as they're doing that, we go back to the Rangers, and uh, they're going on and trying to figure this out. So, Command Center, Alpha explains the decoder process, and Tommy is going on and he's stating, like, I have complete faith in Jason. Yeah, sure, I bet that's going to get rewarded there, buddy. So, alarms are going off, woo woo, and so the viewing globe shows the Dragon Zord in battle mode, and in my mind, like, obviously like, I think there's like a mistake where they're like, well, hey, like, how is it that the Dragon Zord is like wreaking havoc? It's like, no. Tommy would have to go on and flute his way to get the dragon to, yeah. So this time around, like, instead of just having uh Tommy just sit on the bench and do nothing, like, they're like, well, hey, Tommy, like, since like you're the only person that we can use right now, how about you just go out there with the Dragon Zord and fight this monster? It's like, great. So because Tommy wants to take the chance of, like, well, hey, I might lose my powers, but hey, this might be the last chance I ever get to be a Power Ranger. So uh Tommy morphs and flutes his way to a Zord. So we of course have the finger missiles that fire off of the Dragon Zord that goes on to have the Cyclops change into the Dino Megazord. And so the Dragon Zord uses a tail attack, but the Dino Megazord uh, punch forces. Uh, so here's where we finally get to where Tommy is to now finally enter inside of his Zord to take control of it. I'm like, great. Like, we finally get something different with this character. I'm like, great, this is awesome. So we also get this like weird viewpoint of him in his cockpit, which I'm like, okay, this is cool. So Cyclops continues to change form, Megazord to Mega Dragon Zord, to himself. So Cyclops also uses this eye energy blast when he's actually just normal Cyclops, which looks really cool. So uh, so that also then has Cyclops, I think, change to Tyrannosaurus Rex. So Golar goes on and he's watching the candle burn as the decoder starts sparking and starts activating to get the Rangers to the Dark Dimension. So Zordon goes on his communicator and he goes on and tells Zordon that he's going in, and Zordon ends up giving him good luck. So here's where again I am in my notes saying, okay, Jason, no morph. Okay, whatever. So Jason just goes in guns blazing. Golar is happy to meet his old friend in a familiar place. So back with Cyclops. So Cyclops throws Dragon Sword as Jason is going on and having just fingertips away from the candle, but gets thrown back. Kim, worried that that I get Zach and Jason confused. I don't know why. Kim's worried that Jason has been gone for too long, and they also have to realize, like, well, hey, like, Cyclops is a thing, like, and we're kind of ignoring it. And so uh like, the more and more that, like, the time that they waste here, even like Zordon is to think, like, well, hey, wait, like, we should probably just abort this mission. And so, but like, okay, like, so what are we gonna do? Like, Jason is taking up too much time. So Zach has to go back in, or Zach has to go back in. Zach has to go into the Dark Dimension and retrieve Jason. So Zack, again, he doesn't morph either. He doesn't know what's going on in the dark dimension and why Jason is taking far too long in the dark dimension to get this candle. Wouldn't you think that Jason is in trouble? So maybe Zack should morph and go into the dark dimension? Think so? No. Got it. I just have to make some points. I'm sorry about the way I'm just. Let's move on. So, Zack and Jason needs to choose between Tommy's power or his life, especially with the way that Jason and Zack are just kind of having this conversation going on here. It's really good, and I didn't do it enough justice. Uh, but also, like, with the two of them now there facing face to face against Golar, you would think the two of them would stand a good chance between Golar. Like, one would distract him, and the other would get the candle, and maybe like they could chuck the candle to one another, play keep away, and then just jump in the portal and get out of there. No. Why would they do that? So Jason and Zack escape as Golar tells uh I think he ends up just telling Jason, he's like, "You gave up too easily," which again is in my mind to be like, man, that is so true. So Jason makes his way back to the team, and so Jason ends up saying like, "We need to go back," and I'm like, there is enough time. Like, dude, what a waste. So the Rangers morph and they jump into their Zords and teleport and what have you. So they teleport into the Megazord. It's a very weird sequence of events going on. So they call for the Ultra Zord to just wrap this up quickly. So uh, here's where like Tommy makes this statement about like, well, hey, I'm the like Rita can't take my Power Ranger or powers away from me because I'm the Green Ranger. I'm like, what difference does that make? What difference does it make? She can't take my powers. She can't take my powers. So, and then here's where they fire the Ultra Zord, destroying the Cyclops. Then they return to the command center. And as they return to the command center, I think Jason is like, yeah, we need to go back. And it's like, dude, like, it's done. Like, so, Golar is to showcase to us that the candle has flamed its last, and the candle is done. It's finished. So back at the command center, uh, the Rangers have to realize that it's too late, and the only move left to do is to have Tommy give up his powers to Jason, so Jason ends up getting the shield and the dagger. So after Tommy does no longer have the shield on his costume, or even the gold uh, uh, bicep things either. Weirdly enough, because in the other episode he had the gold bicep things still on, but the shield part was just on Jason. So Tommy all of a sudden after that, after giving up his power, starts to fall backwards. And Rita ends up, of course, being upset because, like, no, those powers are taken from me. And so Golar wants revenge on the Rangers, and Alpha and Zoran are two. No, wait, Golar wants revenge on the Rangers, and he's like going on and he's like saying, "Well, yeah, I wanna, like get revenge on Alpha and Zordon too." Yeah, that's what he's saying there. I got a little confused. So Tommy asks Zordon to confirm that it's over, and of course he does. Uh, But hey, the consolation prize is the power is safe in Jason's hands. And it's out of Rita's hands. Oh, wow. So, the Green Ranger is supposedly no more, even though we have to still be an old friend and question that. So, the Green Ranger ends up disappearing and fading away, and all we see is Tommy. And Tommy is to go on and tell Jason to use his new powers to defeat Rita and hopes that their friendship doesn't change. So after that whole moment, like we then cue like weirdly some time passing, and it seems that like Tommy and Kim like meet up together, and like weirdly Tommy's asking Kim, it's like, well, hey, how's the team going? It's been a while, kind of thing. And it's like, what, why are we doing like as if like time has passed? I don't get this. Like, this is still the same episode. But so Tommy's practicing karate off in the distance as Kim is to walk up on him. So Kim asks how Tommy is and misses him. And I think she keeps like saying that she like misses him or something. I don't know. Like, was there some like maybe there was some dialogue that I had to kind of like pause and repeat here? I don't know. Like, there's something going on that I might have just kept hearing over and over again. So, but Tommy's like, well, hey, you know what? Like, you guys were a team well before I got there, so like, you guys are gonna be fine. Like, whatever. Like, Jason's gonna have my power now. What difference does it make? Like, you guys can just have two Zords still, and maybe you can control the Dragon Zord remotely, because that's what Jason does with his own Zord. So, uh, uh, after like just more and more of just Kim and Tommy just being there, they kiss, and after that, Tommy's like, "Well, I guess since we've kissed now, like I guess the harder part is probably much easier now." So Tommy ends up asking Kim about the dance, and of course she agrees. Uh, as well as also after that kiss, like both of them it seems have been waiting to do that. And who knows, maybe the actual actors were actually thinking the same thing. It's like, man, like we kind of built up to this and we were kind of hoping that there's going to be some kind of kiss on this show. But then again, like it seems like the show tries to avoid doing that kind of thing. Um, so after Tommy goes on and asks Kim about the dance, Tommy then is to lift up Kim, and that's how they end the episode. So moving on to the next episode, uh, man, we're close to the finish line here. I think that yeah, this is it. Woohoo! And we are about 2 hours and 20 minutes in. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, like he took 5 minutes and he's still talking now. Whoops, my bad. I dropped something. I'm sorry that these videos are so long. I have to also point out the obvious a lot. I want to apologize uh, for how lengthy these videos are and how much I probably stall while doing this. Also, these aren't reading glasses; these are UV blocker things. Because also, my eyes just get migraines eventually when seeing too much light for a very long time. So I'm just throwing these on just to wrap this bad boy up, and plus also my eyes are getting tired. So just bear with me here. Um, so and oh my god, it's like 6:11 a.m. Jesus. All right, so I never get sleep. I never sleep ever. So into this last episode, the whole name of Hatchosaurus, I thought was awesome. I thought the name of this thing alone was so cool, but then we get to this episode. And so the whole thing of this episode is that Zach is going on and teaching this kid Cameron. And then eventually this will lead to yet another one of those karate tournament episodes where eventually this kid has to go on and live to win, and he just goes on and does so. It's basically uh like an episode where I feel that I want to compare this so much so to the Karate Kid movie, where immediately somewhere in my notes I was to go on and say like sweep the leg, Danielson. So let's go into this. So Zach is at the youth center and he's teaching this karate class. And here's where we go on and have all the kids that are going, aya, aya, aya. And I'm like, man, if I could just go on and get some aya notes of just joking aside. But again, let's go and move on here. I've made too many jokes earlier. So Zach and Cameron do the keto, the whole karate moving thing for everyone else to mimic here. And then Bulk and Skull enter with a character called Biff. And immediately here is to be where my brain works. So, and I think this was a joke used somewhere in like a Friends episode or something. But immediately when you hear the word Biff, you immediately like think of like some weird like cooking canister that opens like as if you're gonna make some rolls or something. Or also when you think of the word Biff, you're immediately thinking of Back to the Future, the villain from that film. And so there was probably a number of times where I probably had some kind of Back to the Future weird goofy joke somewhere placed in here, because immediately when I thought of Biff, I thought of Back to the Future. So so this kid Biff enters after doing some bit of smack talk. Biff then goes and shows he's more skilled than even Bulk with his karate. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, so Bulk trained this kid, but somehow this kid is just better than Bulk is. I'm very confused. So, because again, if we've gone on and seen like Bulk do karate in the past, like this guy does not go on and seemingly be successful. But I guess when Bulk turns around and trains people, I guess he's a better like teacher than he is a doer. Not quite sure. So, anyways, so but we're going on and we're back with the Mandora's Palace. So here's where I think I gripe on the fact that like we have the characters and they're just kind of facing forward in the camera, and also like here's where I also gripe about like we don't focus on the Finster things anymore and having anything to do with them talking about the monsters or the specialty of them or anything. So that just is, I miss that about the show. I don't care about the timing of the minutes of the show. Make the effing time. Like if you're gonna go through a good chunk of this episode and it's gonna be like all out Megazord battle, you could edit some of that stuff out. I don't need all of that. Give me Fencer, like giving me the specialty of this certain monster, because you definitely did not take the time to do that. Zordon has to explain to the Rangers, and they completely ignore it anyways, about the specialty of the monster. Whatever. So, but hey, Rita mentions that Fencer made a monster, and their goal is to defeat the Dragon Zord, because that's all that matters, right? Like, nothing else. Like, there's there is just 5 other Rangers, but meh, like we just need to really defeat that that Dragonzord. That's all we care about this week. So, and they're thinking that the Hatchosaurus actually will get the job done. And again, here's where my notes. I'm like, yeah, that monster sounds cool. That name just sounds cool. So back with Zach. So after Zach is doing this karate session, Zach pulls Marty, Cameron aside, and so Zach is pulling Cameron aside to talk about Biff, and Zach is telling Cameron, it's like, hey man, like you shouldn't get psyched out. I'm like, what is to go on and tell you looking at Cameron that he's already getting psyched out about Biff? Like, dude, I would just be making fun of that mother. Just be like, hey man, like, go back in time and steal a sports almanac because you still ain't beating me. Like, it ain't happening, buddy. Like, I'm making my way and just like I'm cleaning house. So, and then also I'm cleaning whatever Biff like freaking cookie thing that you come from. That was a stupid put down, but whatever. Moving on. So, poof. Anyways, so uh, so back again. So, uh, Zach is going on and telling Cameron that he shouldn't get psyched out from Biff because Biff gets all the ladies and has a job he enjoys and goes out to cool parties. And where was I going with here? Where was I going with this joke? He has a cool name. He doesn't have a cool name. He has a recycled name from Back to the Future. So, but back to my point. So, like Cameron is also concerned that Biff can probably cheat, and Zach is like, no, there's no way he can cheat. Like, man, like the ref will just call him out on it, and he'll just get disqualified. So, like, Cameron is just convincing Zach that you know what, like it's fine. Like you guys are on equal footing. Like, you're just gonna just cream him. You're gonna do well. So, and also, like, if all else fails, sweep the leg, Danielson. Sweep the leg, Danielson. So, at the junior martial arts contest, Cameron is afraid to unleash the power of his new moveset as Zach tells him to be confident in himself because it's about to get wild. Yeah, we're doing a Dino Charge reference because if you guys don't know what Unleash the Power is, and then it's about to get wild, then you haven't seen enough Dino Charge to get that reference. And then also, I've probably referenced it in a number of things at some point because I just need other things to do in my life besides just not having gorgeous women just surround me all the time and go to parties and do nothing but watch Power Rangers all day. Anyways, so Jason enters the contest, but then all of a sudden his communicator goes off. So Zordon is to tell him about the monster Hatchosaurus on the loose and to gather up all the Rangers to kind of get them back to the command center. So Jason ends up making his way to the team and he points at his watch. Hey, like, we gotta go. So Zach is like, really now? Like, yeah, like it happens always at the worst times. Like, if you try to ask a girl out, putties appear. If like Zach is trying to go on and is trying to just think about his birthday. You know, like it just happens at the worst possible times. I don't remember anything else about other episodes, but that was the only thing that just jogged in my brain. So, So then Jack, uh, so then Zach has to realize that he has to turn to Cameron as if he's some weird flaky parent, and he needs to break the news to his son that he won't be there to watch him like play the big game. And so Cameron needs Cameron needs Zach's coaching. Cameron needs Zach there because I guess like where is his parents is what I would ask. But still, like Cameron is just like I just need you here, and Zach is like I'm sorry, like I need to go, but hey, like the next time, like I'll be here, like I promise. Sure you will. So but if anything, like Zach should be there just for the moral support of it all, but he's just not going to be there. Uh, so the team teleports to the command center. So Zordon ends up forming the Rangers that Rita has sent Hatchosaurus. I almost said Hackosaurus. I almost hacked along there. And they're going on and watching the viewing globe image of this monster. Uh, so come to find out, the Rangers have to go on and get inside the monster, and they end up having to go inside the monster to get something outside of it, which of course would be the Cardiatron. So we have Hackosaurus and we have Cardiatron. When can we ever have a monster that just has a just brief short name? Can we just call the monster that thing? Can we just say that? Whenever just a monster is like, oh, that, all right, cool, all right, no more, you don't need to come up with a weird, goofy, long stretch of a name this week that I have to mutter whatever the heck it is. So they go on and they call out their morphs. It's all cool, and they go for the Zords. Uh, and at this point, when we get to a Zord showdown here, I'm like, do they ever really just fight monsters anymore? Do they ever go to hand combat within Ranger and Monster anymore? It's like, but I've already stated this far too much, anyways. But this whole entire episode will just make that worse. So, Hatchosaurus appears, and so Jason Dragon flutes for the Dragon Zord. The Dragon Zord is going on and like latching itself on to the monster and holding it. And this is actually kind of a funny maneuver here because we're going to see that the Dragon Zord is holding on to like let the Dino Megazord like attack this sword, and eventually that ends up getting repeated by the Dino Megazord where it like arm wrenches the Hatchosaurus, and then the Dragon Zord goes on and does its attack. Because we're gonna have a lot of just attacks going on with these Zords today. So so the Megazord goes on and blasts Hatch. I'm just gonna call the monster Hatch now. I'm just gonna abbreviate this cool, sweet name into something that is just to be called Hatch, and like it's going to be easier. So, and immediately when they go into this whole blast of a thing, I'm like, haven't you forgotten something? Isn't there a little trinket of something that Zordon told you that you need to do to defeat this thing? Have you learned nothing, Rangers, in your time of being on this show? So, but if anything, there's this just also this dirt ground attack that looks to finish this Hatchosaurus, but it doesn't. So Rita and Zordon know differently about like, well, yeah, like this is gonna do nothing. So Zordon teleports the Rangers back to the command center to remind them about the Cardiatron as Hatchosaurus reforms itself on the viewing globe. So Jason again is completely ignoring Zordon. And so Jason's like, well, I think we're gonna just need the Mega Dragon Zord. Like that's obviously the plan. Like this feels like that South Park episode where they have the homeless coming in and like the guy ends up going on and giving the homeless change and then like the homeless person's like, well, hey, it looks like you have some more change there. Can I get some more change? And the guy turns like, yes, this homeless man has completely forgotten I've given him change. The same thing here. Zordon ends up telling Jason the perfect way to defeat this monster, and Jason ignores that and just like, yeah, I think that Mega Dragon Zord thing, like, I think that's gonna work this week. No. So I'm like, what did Zordon just say? Whatever, Jason. So also when looking at the Hatchosaurus, like this thing got on and was to remind me of there's this Zordon. There's this Zord. There's this big Megazord goofy looking thing that was facing against the Power Rangers in the Shattered Grid comic book story. There's this weird Megazordish thing that was evil and was like black and so I'm trying to figure out how to word this. So there was this evil Zord that Billy had to go inside of in the Shattered Grid story to defeat this monster and to stop it from working. And like this episode here reminded me of that Shattered Grid story, and so I was like, all right, like this is cool. Like I wonder if like somebody actually will know. Whoever did the whole Shattered Grid story, they didn't watch anything of Power Rangers, it seems, because that's what I was told from the people who knew about the person that put together the comic books. They watched nothing from Power Rangers. They just weirdly just put a story together and somehow was like connected to have some familiar stuff, but also that's probably the problem of that story is that it's like, well, it was kind of so easy to put together, but again, let's move on. So, uh, so let me pause here for a second. All right, home stretch. So, Rita is noticing that the Dragon Zord is coming into play here, and so she decides to cast a spell on the Dragon Zord to then have it just be like just stuck to where it can't go on and really function much at all. So, uh, but if anything, like with now, like the Dragon Zord now, like just stuck, not being able to do much, like Rita's like, well, yeah, like it's like really like the like Hatch is gonna beat the Megazord, like yeah, because they're not really thinking this through. So back at the command center, uh, the the viewing globe spots the Cardiatron, and it's just out in the open somewhere. And you would think that then the Rangers, when they're back at the command center and they're watching this viewing globe, that they would be like, "Oh yeah, this is the thing that we need to get, and we should just go to that location and destroy that thing, and then destroy Hatchosaurus." Yeah, no. So the Rangers morph and they get into their Zord. So here is where Rita, like, the dialogue has no connection with what's going on right now. And then we skip past that. And because again, that's just a poor editing decision. And then so the Megazord and Hatch are hugging it out, and Jason ends up calling for the Dragon Zord, which again, like the Dragon Zord is just limping its way over there and can't do anything. So Jason then ends up calling for the Power Sword, because again, just whatever, just I want to know what writing staff the show has, if it's consistent, if it's inconsistent. Like, do people know or remember the names? Like, is it a goofy Easter egg thing that like the actors or just the writers just laugh about how like many times they could swap this in and they think that no one will notice, but I frickin' do? Good God, show. But I guess no one notices. But anyway, so anyways, we have the Power Sword coming. So Hatch and the Megazord have hugged it out, and then Hatch is like on top of the Dino Megazord, and then when the Power Sword comes, like this pushes Hatch off of the Megazord. So like the Power Sword is trying to do what the Dragon Zord just couldn't do anything at all. So like I guess we just had that going for us. So we have at this point me and my notes just saying like, okay, this is getting just stupid. But we of course have to go on and figure out a way to just slay this monster again. So uh we end up, I think, like we go for like the slash of the sword or something along those lines. And here's where they finally notice the reason why the Dragon Zord, like, it's not really doing anything, is they finally notice like the ring around the Dragon Zord, that there is a magical spell surrounding the Dragon Zord. So here's where Jason, and I clocked this at 12 minutes and 40 seconds. After Jason and the team notices the spell around the Dragon Zord, Jason finally just has his brain grow 2 times a day. And Jason is like, well, hey, like, we need to jump into the Hatchosaurus and grab out Cardiatron, and then we'll defeat this monster. Clocking this in at 12 minutes and 40 seconds of this episode. So Jason jumps into Hatch's mouth, and Cardiatron all of a sudden is lashing out with these tentacles. I'm like, oh, so this is where those certain adult movies got that idea. So uh, here's where the Dino Megazord has a arm wrench on Hatchosaurus as the Dragon Zord just falls over. And so Zach is going on from, I don't know how he's going on and telling Jason this, because like Jason is like inside the stomach of this monster trying to like fight Cardiatron. But so Zack ends up calling out for Jason inside the monster uh, to to use that dragon flute. So then Jason is to, of course, weirdly hear this coming from Zack. So uh, after going on and doing this command, Cardiatron is just like, nah, like nothing you're gonna do is really help here, is gonna really help. And so Jason is like, well, like I'm gonna go on and like I'm gonna finally call for the dragons or power. So this is when the shield appears. This is when all of a sudden the dragon Zord breaks Rita's spell, and in my mind, I'm thinking back to the whole like cocoon thing where I'm like, man, if only that Dino Megazord would have taken its power sword and broken uh the Dragon Zord's just spell around it. Maybe like I don't know, maybe the Dragon Zord could have helped out a little bit earlier in this fight, but whatever. So it's whatever at this point. So uh So again, we have the Megazord that is holding on onto Hatchosaurus, while the Dragon Zord uses its tail attack. Um, so this attack ends up finally, because I guess it was strong enough, weirdly has Cardiatron and Jason fly out of Hatch's body. And here's where we go on and we have the face off. So uh, Jason ends up getting grabbed by the tentacles and then blasted because weirdly this like Cardiatron that looks weirdly like a heart here. It's very weirdly shaped. Uh, ends up going on and starting attacking Jason here, and Jason then goes on to take both dagger and both sword. And at this point, both of these weapons now weirdly look like lightsabers. It's Star Wars, it's weird, it's goofy. So Jason then ends up going on and doing this weird, goofy, like he's running with the sword and the dagger, and he slices and he destroys Cardiatron, which in turn would go on to like, okay, well, like, hey, let's go on and uh, then get the Ultra Zord and take out Hatchosaurus. So we then go on and make our way back to the competition because we're reminding that Cameron is even a thing that exists. So Zach is so proud of his student Cameron because he had reached the highest in the competition. He's getting to the finals. It's like, all right. So Zach finds Cameron and he apologizes for the fact that it's like, well, hey, yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, but I'll be there for next time. Like, I'll promise. So here's where we get to the finishing up finale here. So it's Cameron versus Biff. So here's where Biff goes on and he's intimidating him by punching up this bag. I'm like, okay, well, I guess since Jason isn't doing a punching bag sesh, like I guess Biff has to now. So during this tournament between the two of them, uh, we have at some point where Zach is guiding Cameron, going on of like, hey, do that special leg move. Hey, do this, do that. So we come to find that the special leg move is to be a sweeping of the leg. I'm like, yeah, like sweep the leg. So we see that Cameron flips Biff over, and so all this stuff ends up leading to Cameron winning this tournament. So uh like you would think that like Cameron and Biff would still have this like grudge between one another, but Biff is like, you know what, I'm fine. Like you beat me fair and square. So Biff goes on and gets back to Bulk, his coach, and kicks him in the leg and says, like, well, I'm going to go on and find a new coach, because of course he is. So Zach goes on and tells Cameron that he believed in himself and that's how he won. And that's where we go on. And after the weird, goofy handshake, high five thing that they do, that's what kind of rolls us into credits. And I think I'm going to roll freaking out of here so I can get this freaking out there and done. Let me know in the comments below what was your favorite episode out of everything that has been reviewed yet. And if you watched this whole entire review, I appreciate it because I get it. Like, but then again, I have to just keep saying this over and over again. I appreciate it. I do. Um, Hopefully, I will go on and get to those next 5 episodes. Uh, I really wanted to go on and figure out a way to just kind of keep getting these out quickly, but like just life happens. Like the last 2 days, um, I had just been just very ill with either just dizziness or lightheadedness. Like I'd already did a whole post about this, but no one probably cared. So I'm just gonna say it here. Um, and then I was just shaky the day before, and I was like, God, and I was watching these episodes, just thinking I was gonna get to them, but like more and more, that I sort of watch the episodes, and I'm like, I feel sick again. So yeah, so hopefully I figure something out and eventually also figure out what to do for the future videos besides covering the next 5 episodes that I wanted to cover. Uh, there's also going to be some movies that I hope to mix in with these reviews to kind of be doing something different. Uh, there are some possibility of certain movies that I want to say, but I know that either won't matter that I'm saying them here, or really whatever I say is going to be the exact second of which that this video came out. So just be a waste to say it here. But um, other than that, I'm just exhausted and tired, and I just want to call this a video. So uh, I really hope that this series can continue. Um, I really want to go on and hope that this just isn't a hoax, that there's like some momentum going, that I can justify watching other seasons past Mighty Morphin. Uh, but then again, who knows? Because again, I always wanted to state that I wanted this to be a series review. Um, and I hope that keeps on going. Weirdly enough, people keep subscribing to this, and so I keep doing it, and hope for the best. But other than that, I'm gonna get out of here because I know this video is far too long, anyways. Thank you for watching this, listening, or probably just be here for the X number of early parts of this episode and then just clicking off because I get it. But I'm gonna get out of here. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.